because real health impacts generations. And this is going to be a fun one. It's talking about the health of the host and germs. There's like two theories out there, right? One of them is that we can be exposed to germs and that can cause us problems. And what does that make us do? That makes us wash our hands. Right now it makes us wear masks. It has us do things to prevent those germs from getting into our body. So I'm going to tell you the story. We had chickens here for a long time. Sabrina wanted a bunny. We homeschooled, so we had her do a report. And then she wanted chickens. Oh, and she had to save up the money for the bunny. But then when she wanted chickens, we thought, okay, so we built a house and we got a bunch of chickens. They kind of became mine. But what was fun about chickens was watching them have babies. As you can see below this mama, there's a little baby right there. There you go. You can see the little chick under the mama. But when we first got chickens, there was an issue with some of them getting sick. And we were told to use antibiotics on our little mini farm. So I knew enough about nutrition that we chose not to use antibiotics, but rather to encourage the beneficial bacteria in our yard, because we believe it is the health of the host that makes the biggest difference. Now, you'll even see that with COVID right now. People who have health challenges are more at risk. People whose immune systems are low are more at risk. That's not to say that there aren't germs out there, but that our body was designed to handle germs. We actually live in a sea of germs. We've got beneficial bacteria in our gut, supposedly more bacteria in our body than we have cells. That's just kind of wild to think about, right? So when we got our chicks, we just encouraged the beneficial bacteria. Now, coccidosis is one of those things that's supposedly caused by E. coli. And E. coli is something that doesn't belong on your plate, okay? It's usually found in feces or droppings from animals or humans. So it's normally in your gut. It's normally in your intestinal tract. But in your intestinal tract, you've got 85% good bacteria, but you've got 15% bad. So the E. coli would probably be called bad bacteria. Now, it does serve a purpose, but it's obviously not good to have it on your plate, and it's got to be kept in balance. And so when you think about how a chicken grows up, it makes a big difference in the health of that little body or the host of the chicken. So running around in our backyard, it never has to sit in its stuff, if that makes sense. But if it was in a cage, it would necessarily have nowhere else to go and would end up pooping in the same place where it was eating. And that would be the type of chicken that might produce an egg that might have more problems for us nutritionally, okay? But the ones that run around freely don't usually have that issue. So these are chickens foraging in a forage pile. They're doing what chickens do. J.I. Rodale's book, Pay Dirt, explains the research that composted dirt actually has beneficial bacteria that kills the pathogens or the bad guys. So if you go out and grab a handful of dirt and you smell it and it smells good, it probably has a lot of beneficial bacteria in it. And it could even have the type of beneficial bacteria that can kill pathogens like coccidosis or salmonella or E. coli. So because our birds don't live sitting in a cage, they run free over a large area, they're healthier. And it's interesting, they always recommended, oh, you got to clean out your bowls with bleach, but each time you clean out the bowl for the chicken, the water bowl with bleach, you're killing off the good guys. And that provides an environment where the bad guys can flourish. So we never used, actually, I think maybe once or twice in 15 years did we use bleach on our chicken's water dish. Usually it was just water. We'd rinse it out. If it got a little green, we'd rinse it a little better. Maybe, rub it out with the hands. But it wasn't a problem. And what's interesting is when you talk to, like, I don't want to pick on a university here, but there's a local university here that teaches about organic gardening, or they have a master gardener program. They don't call it organic gardening. And they also have encouraged people to make sure that wild birds don't get near their chickens, because wild birds can carry disease, is what we're told. Here's the thing. First of all, how are you going to stop a wild bird from landing in your yard? Maybe if you had an owl out there 24/7, you might have a little bit of control because the birds wouldn't want to come in your yard. But for the most part, wild birds live with the chickens. I mean, they come in and they eat in the same area with the chickens. They eat their food, they drink their water. There was no way that we could keep the wild birds away. Yet we didn't have a lot of issue with disease. And I really think it's because we kept our chickens healthy. Their host was kept healthy so that it could withstand any germs that it might come in contact with. So, like I said, over time we found that even the supposed threats of wild birds carrying diseases and the warnings to wash water containers with bleach were untrue and unnecessary. We had management practices that encouraged beneficial bacteria, and so it made disease no longer an issue on our farm. So this goes back to, you guys have heard of Louis Pasteur, right? I think most of the science these days is based on Louis Pasteur's findings that germs are the root cause of disease. And of course, we know that hand washing with soap can be a critical part of staying healthy. And this is true, right? During most of this time of COVID, what is this? This is September when I'm recording this right now. So I was made aware of it in January, did some research, started increasing our zinc and things to keep our immune system strong and cut back on sugar. I did all those things because I knew that a strong immune system would be necessary. So I worked until 2 weeks ago. So I worked until the end of August and never got sick, never had an issue. And I didn't use hand sanitizers because that is said to destroy the beneficial bacteria. Whereas washing your hands with warm water and soap, and yes, I tried to do it for 20 seconds. Most of the time, I'll be honest, it wasn't. But there is research that shows that hand washing with soap can actually be more beneficial for keeping germs away that don't belong in your body than antibacterial things. But at the same time as Pasteur, there was a man named Bechamp who believed that the health of the host is of primary importance. So, for an example, with our chickens, we kept the host or the body of the chicken healthy with fresh air, with exercise, with room to run around, with clean water every few days. And they could eat the bugs and the grass and the things that they found. And they got their exercise and they did the things that chickens do to stay healthy. And our chickens did stay healthy. So I really believe that both ideas have an element of truth. Yes, we can be exposed to germs, but the truth is we live in a sea of germs, and the body, given the chance, can learn how to balance the good guys and the bad guys. So more important than keeping a focus on the bad guys, because and we'll talk about this more in another video, but more important than keeping the focus on the bad guys that you can be exposed to, although that's important, and wash your hands. The most important thing is to keep your host or your body healthy, because God made us so that we could keep a balance with good guys and bad guys so that the good guys can win. So we're going to talk about some of these other issues that help keep our host healthy in the next video. So I hope you enjoyed that, and I will see you soon.